Right, so you're still the AM show, and we'll come back to that conversation about the Ghana card and why people who haven't gotten it, too bad for you guys. You have to pay if you have to pay. Otherwise, you just have to go and join the queues join the queues. There are queues everywhere, actually, because...
this is how I'm keeping quiet and you're looking for trouble.
Okay, we'll come back to that conversation another time. But here...
no, not another. Another time seems far away. Soon.
Soon.
Very
we'll
soon.
Come back to that conversation very soon. In fact, I reached out to Professor Tiff. It appears he's busy. He sent me a message I should text. So I've sent him a text. I'm waiting for the feedback. If we can get him, we'll talk about it on the show.
Would love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So talking about feedback, yesterday we had an interview with the MCE for the Jennifer Dede. Yes, and she was telling us about the fact that the NADMO, was getting
on the ground. So we had some of the people whose homes had been flooded, and so they can't get out of their house.
Yeah.
They were suggesting that if they could get
some of the water
to come to pump the water out, then they could move out of their homes. And she indicated that yes, this was something that they were on the ground and then they were
doing. So it was being done. Okay, so let's actually just listen to exactly what she said yesterday.
Listened and I have read his letter to the divisional commander indicating his intentions to join his people, lead his people to demonstrate. It's very laughable. It's very laughable, especially coming from someone who was crusading all over the place in 2020, telling people to abandon or dump someone who had brought in so much development to the people of Medina, to try him to do more. And all of a sudden, we want to do demonstrations. If it was about demonstrations, then unfortunately, he cannot call himself a leader. No member of parliament says they are leading their people to demonstrate. That is an easy way out. We have members of parliament who are ministers of state. And we all know how members of parliament play a key role in lobbying their colleagues to bring development. Honorable Boniface served just 4 years in office in Medina. And the level of development that came, major storm drains, 8 of them, unprecedented in the history of our municipality. And you come in, we cannot boast of 1 meter drain from you, and your easy way out of this is demonstration. It's very unfortunate. We need him to do better than that. We have had long-standing abandoned projects dating back as way from Pastor Tamil's time that the MPP government came to complete. Where was he? Has he taken the trouble to look at that? The immediate step, for instance, with the images that we are looking at, the immediate step is to look at the nearest drainage or the nearest storm drains that are around these areas to consume the water that has gone into their homes. We have other places where during this flooding we will just use water pumps to pump out the water from their homes as an immediate solution for them, which currently is ongoing. Some residents have called on the assembly, and the NADMO is on the ground doing some of these things. But for the major ones that go or stretch beyond the homes and find itself on the street, look at the nearest storm drains around.
Right, so that's the MC for Lankwantanang. And yesterday, there was a conversation that wasn't on air between myself and Enimwa. And Enimwa was insistent that there was nothing happening on the ground. She was so sure about that. And I was like, oh, let's she said it. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt. If she says it, I don't think she would say it if there was nothing happening on the ground. So we said, okay, let's go there and find out for ourselves. So Manuel Cranting went onto the ground to get to find out what was happening. So it was Adom TV actually that went there to find out what was happening, and this was the interaction with the feedback we got.
Well, no pardon course I over 101. Yeah, course when work communities no free. Say when you should not trap want me be and
We have gotten so many calls today, and most of them are from this particular Uyarifa area. You can see our trucks parked there. We cannot pump the water because there are no drains to pump the water through. You can see the houses built on the waterways. Now we've checked at the houses. None of the houses here have drainage systems. And so it's become very difficult to pump out the water. Now we have the trucks and the machines, but can't pump it out. So we are going back to have a discussion with the municipal assembly to find out how to deal with the situation. We will check whether they have permits or they do not have permits. If they do not have permits, we'll just have to demolish the buildings and allow the water to flow. If they have permits, then we must prepare to give them some compensation before we can demolish the houses.
So permitting to say compensation means be ye for any ye for now yet me drains no now community no ubi a no.
Right, so you heard it for yourself. NADMO says they went there. They were not there at the time we were actually having the conversation, it turns out, but they went there eventually. They got there and said they can't pump out the water because there are no drains for them to pump the water through. So that's where.
Which again is also interesting because she did mention that the MP before had built about 7 or 8 storm drains or something like that. So now how come there are no drains?
So there may be storm drains for other communities. You need a lot more, I guess.
So, I mean, basically she didn't really know what she was talking about. Yeah, it's fine. You don't have to agree with me. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. And I think that honestly,
make this another NI.
No, I'm not. I just think that, you know, when we have issues like this, it's important for people in power to be factual and honest and straightforward about what's going on.
True.
A lot of times we're having conversations like this and we divert it by making it a political conversation. And that's what got me so upset yesterday, that I didn't think it was a time to point fingers at people and say, well, you said this, you said this. The point is, and I'm not siding with lawyer Sosu, but he did say that you are the one who is in charge of government's funding and allocations for the area. So when there's an issue like this, you don't point fingers at the MP and say, well, you promised this and you promised that. Is the MP supposed to fund this out of his own account? That's not what the law asks be done. What the law asks be done is that you allocate the money that comes to you and bring development to the area. And at the very least, don't come on TV and say things that are not true, like the people working on the ground, when there's actually no one working on the ground. It's very irresponsible. And yes, this is me calling you out for doing that. Very, very irresponsible. Anyways, which is why some people don't want to live in Ghana, which brings us to the next conversation.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, it was inappropriate for MC to tell us that there was something happening on the ground when there wasn't.